we are going to be talking about everything that we need to know about OSCE self-sponsorship. If you are an international nurse that is looking at coming to the UK to practice as a registered nurse and you want to consider the self-sponsorship pathway, that means you want to come to the UK to write your OSCE exam by yourself and then get employed without needing any agency or anything like that, then stay tuned to these videos. For countries that are in the red list that recruitment is now a challenge for, self-sponsoring yourself for OSCE is now seems to be the easiest way out of the challenge. So we are going to be talking about the details right in today's video. My name is Precious. On this channel we talk about everything empowering, educating and uplifting. You're welcome to my space. If this is your first time seeing my face, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming right back, and please do not forget to like, subscribe and share this channel if you find value, and of course I know you will. So let's get right into today's video. I'm not like an immigration advisor, neither am I anybody that is licensed by the government to give immigration advice or anything like that. This is just based on research and based on my personal experience and based on what is there on their official websites, that I'm just sharing the information that I've been able to process. So if you need immigration advice, do contact an expert or an immigration advisor, an expert in that field, to give you such advice. This is just for education purposes. So let's get right into the video. So what is OSCE? So OSCE is an examination that you have to complete together with another one called the CBT for you to be able to register as a nurse in the UK if you are applying as an international nurse. Yes, so the full meaning is objective structural clinical examination. So it's an examination that tests your practical skills of nursing, how you so the CBT is theory-wise, where it tests your skills on your knowledge, while the OSCE is practical-wise, it tests your practical skills. So usually, if you're an international nurse from a non-English speaking country, for example, Nigeria, Ghana, you would have to write an IELTS examination or an OET examination to prove your English for your professional registration, and then you have to write the CBT theory part of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of UK exam, and then you have to write the OSCE, which is the practical part. So these are three major examinations you need for you to be registered with the Nursing and Midwifery Council of the United Kingdom. Usually people do complete their IELTS first, do the CBT and then do the OSCE, but you can write these exams in any order. The only thing is you need your English exam to be able to get your PIN, so you need all of them to be able to get your PIN. So you can actually write your OSCE before your CBT. There is no, you can write them in any order as long as you've gotten permission from the NMC to go ahead and sit your exams. But then usually we do write the CBT, right, because most of us have CBT centers in our home countries. Then we come over, and because the OSCE can only be completed in the United Kingdom, so it's usually easier to just complete the two exams we can write back home, then come over and do the OSCE. So before now, international recruitment was like widely blooming in the UK, and there was a lot of inflow of nurses between the past 4 to 5 years or so, but recently it's not like that anymore, because most of these countries have gone into the World Health Organization red list, meaning there cannot be any mass recruitment from these places. But if you apply personally and meet the requirements, you could still be considered. But challenges have come in recent times where people have applied, made loads and loads of applications, and they just get unfortunate emails and they are not able to pull through. So usually what happens is the employer will employ you, then bring you over, train you on this examination, and then you qualify and become their permanent staff. But recently, what seems to be the solution is you've done these two exams back home, you come to the United Kingdom to write the third exam, which is the OSCE exam, and then finalize your registration with the NMC, and then you can apply for jobs. So this is just a little background of why I'm doing this video. A lot of people have been in my inbox asking me questions, and sometimes I'm at work, I'm not able to catch up with everyone, so I just decided to make this video so that if anyone needs this knowledge, you could just refer to it. So do share it to people you know it will be useful to. So let's talk about what is involved in this process. So for you to come to write this exam, first of all, for us even to be talking about registration, you must be a registered licensed nurse in your home country. Your registration must be recognized and valid, so it must be recognized by the Nursing and Midwifery Council of your home country. So in Nigeria, it's Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. So they must recognize your registration, so you must be what we call a registered nurse with a license, with a PIN, you know, to be able to transfer your registration to the United Kingdom. So that's the first requirement. Then there are other requirements you need to meet, including the English exam, including passing the 2 exams, character requirements, police clearance, and lots of things. But today we're going to be focusing on the one that seems to be the major challenge at this time, the OSCE examination. So I'm just going to go ahead and be talking about what do you need to expect, like if you're thinking of self-sponsoring yourself, that's coming to the UK without an employer to write this OSCE exam. What are the things we are looking at? So first of all, we are looking at your eligibility, which I've talked about. You have to be a registered nurse. You have started registration with NMC UK. You've gotten to the point that you've been given the go-ahead later and asked to go ahead and sit for your test of competence. So you are eligible. That's one, because without that, that's just going to be a waste of time and resources. Next thing to consider is going to be your visa, because yes, you're coming to write an examination, but you need a visa. So you need a visa for permission to enter the country, and you need the correct visa. So you can come to write this exam on the 6 months visa route, but then this visa has loads and loads of requirements that you need to know before you apply. So if you want information about the 6 months visa route in which you could come and write your OSCE exam, you can get more information on gov.uk platform, because everything you need, you can just type 6 months visa on gov.uk, and every information, the price, the cost, every requirement you need will be there for you, because I cannot begin to extensively say everything you need for that visa, because that's going to make this video very long. You need to be eligible to be on the NMC UK register. That you've started this process already and you've gotten to this point, and you've gotten your email saying congratulations, you can now go ahead and write your test of competence. Secondly, you need to consider your the visa application. Do you have the requirements needed for a visit visa? On this account, if you don't have anyone to invite you from the UK, you can actually apply by yourself, because you're coming to write an exam. So you are going to be needing a proof that you've registered for your OSCE exam and you've been given a date to come and write this exam. You're going to have to prove that you're qualified to write this exam. You're going to have to prove that you're able to sponsor yourself. You have the finances to be able to sponsor yourself to come and write this exam. You're going to have to prove where you're going to stay to be able to get this visa. Those are the things that you should be preparing your mind on. So after the visa, another thing you have to consider is the flight cost. So I'm not going to be able to give a total rough estimate, because different people from different countries are going to have different estimates. So I'm just going to be giving you the estimate in pounds, and then you have to do the conversion yourself. From the research I've been able to make, the OSCE fee is a standard fee at the time of making this video. The OSCE fee is £794 to register for this exam, and then if you have to receipt less than 7 stations, you then pay £397. So the registration fee for attempting OSCE, registering for OSCE, is £794. Then a receipt of less than 7 stations is £397. The visa cost, based on today's information on gov.uk, for 6 months visa, which is the visa you need to come to write this exam, is £115. As of today, as of now, making this video. And then flights cost, anything from between 1,000 to 1,500 pounds going and coming back, return flights for from my own like home country, which is Nigeria. I don't know for some countries, but I've heard that some airlines have, you know, dropped their flight prices, so something around maybe 1,000 to 1,200 or something like that. You just have to make that research for yourself. So you have to consider eligibility, your visa cost, your flight cost. Just type on Google whatever country you are in, and then the United Kingdom, I need to tell you the flight cost. I've told you the visa fee of the 6 months visa as of now is 115. That's today that I'm making this video. It's May 2024, so just cross-check that information again. You can find it on the gov.uk website. Then another thing you want to be considering is accommodation. Very, very important, because if you don't have a proof of where you're going to stay in the UK, your visa will be denied. You have to either have a hotel booked, or you have to have a friend or a family relation that is going to sponsor your accommodation, or you booked an Airbnb, or you just have to have a place that you're going to stay planned out already before you start applying for your visa. From my own little knowledge, accommodation for a month, let's say a month, ranges between £300 and above, depending on the location that you are choosing to write this exam, and you know where your center is and where you're choosing to. So in the UK, different areas have different accommodation prices. London prices are different, they are more expensive, while if you go up north, is a bit more cheaper. So where you choose to write your exam influences the cost of the exam totally. That is why it is very hard for me to say a self-sponsorship route is going to cost you this amount or this amount. So by the time I'm giving this estimate, it's now left for you to add them together and know what is the general cost of this self-sponsorship. We have the exam fee at 794. We have visa fee at 115, and I say let's just use £1,000 for flights. It might be way less, it might be a little bit higher, I don't know. And then accommodation ranges, let's say for an accommodation that you can stay, ranges between 300, 400, 500, depending on where. It will be way very more expensive in London, but then I don't think there is no OSCE center in London, so we'll leave London out of this. So I will just use an average of 400 for accommodation. So another thing you're going to be considering, which is very important, this is the mistake most people do when they're trying to come on the self-sponsorship route, is your OSCE training. You're spending so much money because yes, you're sponsoring yourself and you want to pay for your flights, pay for your visa, but you don't want to pay for the training. You cannot, it's not advisable to just go on YouTube and watch OSCE videos. It's good, you might learn stuff, you might learn good things, but the thing is that as a nurse educator here in England, I can tell you that these exams are revised sometimes 3 monthly, sometimes monthly. Someone can write this OSCE exam last month, and then with research and new knowledge, by the next month they've added new things, and if you do the same thing the person did last month and pass, you're going to fail. You're expected to be updated with the most recent knowledge of OSCE, and you can't get these things by just scrolling YouTube. Some YouTube videos were made before I came to UK, so then it was the old OSCE, now is a new OSCE, and even in this new OSCE, lots of things have evolved. Another thing to consider is that different exam centers, they have a standard criteria for marking OSCE, but there are things you can do in a particular center and it will be overlooked, but some centers are stricter than others. So if you're just going off YouTube, you're not going to get this information. So if you're getting training for your OSCE, if you're getting prepared to sponsor yourself for OSCE, please get OSCE training. I'm going to talk about that at the very end of the video, because this is something that is very expensive. Most OSCE training provision in the UK are between 500 to 700 pounds, because it is very detailed. The OSCE is practical. It's something that is difficult to pass across to someone else, especially when you're going to be learning it virtually, because you're not there, you are back home and you want to learn this thing, and it's practical. It's going to take time, resource, and everything. It's usually expensive, but because people have called me and, you know, I mean, sometimes I just get so tired because I wish I could just do something to help. As a nurse educator, I've decided to partner with some of my colleagues to come together and put resources together and see how we can help our fellow nurses back home to teach this OSCE in an affordable rate. So just stay to the end of the video, and that will be the last thing I will say, and then we'll wrap up the video. Generally, OSCE training will cost you between 500 700, but if you're watching this video, I don't want you to bother about that because it's not going to cost you that. We are going to work out something together to see how we can get you ready for your OSCE if you're considering the self-sponsorship route. So apart from your training, you'll be considering logistics. When I mean logistics, when the flight drops you, you will need to be taken from the airport to where you're going to stay. You might want to include your feeding in your logistics. Food is not like necessarily very expensive here, but you have to maybe make do with what you see. I mean, or if you have a friend or someone knows anyone that is willing to just accommodate you to write this exam, is going to help you cut loads of costs. So let's just say let's just keep your logistics at 300 average. I'm not saying it's going to cost you a whole 200 or something like. I'm just averagely, so that we can be able to calculate and get to a rough estimate. Remember that this estimate is going to apply differently to different people because different people will have different flight prices, different people will have different accommodation provisions. Some people are going to be staying in a friend's house and will not need to pay for accommodation, so remove that from your budget. Some people are going to be staying in a friend's house, so they'll be eating in the friend's house, so they don't need to prepare for logistics and feeding, so remove that in your budget. Though you will need to prove these things when applying for your visa, but if someone is sponsoring you, they just need to write a letter stating that this is what they are doing for you, you know, and all that. So don't just sum everything that I'm going to say and say, oh my God, this is the amount. Your circumstances will determine what you're paying for and what you're not paying for. Let's just make a little bit of calculation and come up to what the rough estimate is. We left flights coming to UK and going back to your country as 1,000 pounds. Then OSCE is 794 pounds as of today, and then the visa application is 115 pounds as of today. Then we said accommodation, a rough estimate of 400 pounds if you have no place to stay, and then general logistics, we say let's put an estimate of 300 pounds. So this is a rough estimate of 2,609 pounds. Remember that we've not included the OSCE training in this budget, so this is roughly 2,609 pounds. I don't know how much this is going to be in your local currency, but this is what you should be looking around when you're planning to self-sponsor yourself to write this OSCE examination. So this is why I'm saying that this is not something you would do and spend money and book flights and book visa and ignore the training aspects, because there is just no point spending this amount of money if you're not going to prepare yourself enough to write these exams. So I said that usually to get quality OSCE training in the UK is within 500 700. You can go on Google and search it. Some 900, some 1,000 pounds just for the training. So it's really like cost intensive. That's the word I'm going to use. Self-sponsoring yourself to come to the UK to write this exam is really like cost intensive. So I'm just going to make one last point. I'm going to mention the approved NMC approved test centers for these exams. So maybe when I mention them, you might have someone living close to those areas, and then you want to do your test in those ones that maybe you have people around there. So we have Oxford Brookes University, one center. We have University of Northampton, second center. We have Ulster University, third center, that's in Northern Ireland. That's where I wrote my own exam. We have Northumbria University, fourth center, that's up north. And then we have Leeds Teaching Hospital NHS Trust. I'll go again. Oxford Brookes University, University of Northampton, Ulster University, Northumbria University, and Leeds Teaching Hospital NHS Trust. So these are the 5 approved OSCE test providers. So you can only write OSCE exam in these 5 approved places in the UK. It's now left for you to ask yourself, out of these 5 places, do I have anyone living in any city that is close to these centers, so that you can cut costs by, going to a city that is closer to someone that is willing to accommodate you. So these are the details you need to know if you're considering to self-sponsor yourself. Yes, it is very, 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 very capital intensive, but if you really have that vision and you really want to make this happen, then there's no much thing we can do, especially if you're on the red list. Some people are still getting their jobs, but I will tell you, compared to how we used to know it, is extremely difficult. It's just extremely difficult to get that sponsorship right now how it used to be. So especially if your exams are running out, like your CBT and your LS are already expiring, and this is an option you want to consider, then I will encourage you to go for it if you have the ability to sponsor yourself. I wanted to talk about something else, that is the training part. I'm going to be putting up something together with my professional colleagues in the education sector, and we're going to be offering a course. It's only going to be accessible to, we wanted to make it strictly for people from my country, but I don't want to, because it's really more like reaching out, because it's teaching us skills, time intensive, it's capital intensive, it's everything intensive. But then I might just leave it open to all international nurses. So we're going to be offering OSCE training sections strictly for international nurses that are still back home, that are looking to consider self-sponsorship route. Please, if you've gotten a job with a trust, do not join this course, because it's going to be unfair on people that are spending this much money. Also, this is strictly to help those of our colleagues that are still back home and trying to find a way. So if you're interested in knowing about this course, I'll drop details, link it to this video, drop it in the comment sections, and then I will let you know how to go about the course and everything you need to do. I will just drop a link. I will drop the information there in the comment section. If you're interested in the course, if you want to be part of it, just quickly grab the link on the comment section and you'll be shown how to go about this course. Like I said, it would have cost you 500 to 1,000 pounds to do this training, but we are not even going to ask you for half of that. We're just going to ask you money for logistics to be able to gather equipment and do this course. So that's just the projects we want to do as a give back to our own home country, to help our own colleagues that are still back home to make the move that they want to make. Apart from that, I'm just going to be saying, if you have any other questions that you think, oh, I've not gone through this, I don't know, I might also make some inquiries. So if you join this course and maybe you don't have anybody in the UK, I might also contact some, what they call them, house agencies, and see if they are willing to work with in partnership with us, to see if they can provide accommodation for cohorts of people to write this exam. But that details is not something I can give in this video. If you want to be part of this process, so we're just going to be creating a group, a community of international nurses that are interested in taking the self-sponsorship route. So what we are going to be doing in that group is providing, the major course of the group is providing OSCE training to everyone, and then any other form of assistance, including maybe direction on how to go. We will not apply for your visa, we will not help you do anything that you need to do, but we'll give you information and guidance and make sure that you're doing the right thing that you need to do. That's not gonna be paid for, it's just something we want to do. So but for the training, the information, go to the link in the comment sections. The link to the community would be in the video description. Join the community, and everything you need to know about everything that you want help or assistance in about your self-sponsorship, for OSCE, we'll just put it out there. So if you're part of the course, automatically you're going to be getting support throughout and information on accommodation, visa, flights, how to go about everything, and see your journey through. And if we speak to these house agents and they are willing to partner with us, it means that you can get all your package in one place. We will not take your money for your house. We'll just link you to the people that you need to do your business with. It's just providing that information to make your journey easier, because I cannot imagine how hectic it is. So don't think it's impossible. I've seen lots of people. So the most very important point about self-sponsorship is that as you're here, if you write your exams, the results comes up within 5 days and you pass, guess what? You can apply for a job, interview for that job. I mean, when you're still on that visa, you cannot work on that visa, but you can at least attend your interview on that visa and then go back home and properly apply. You just need to pass this exam. Most trusts are recruiting people with PIN, because once you get a PIN, now see what self-sponsorship does for you. Once you get your PIN, you're no longer an international nurse. You're now a UK registered nurse. So anybody recruiting you is not breaking any rule. They are recruiting you based on the fact that you are UK registered. Do you understand? So that's what makes it easier to get your job after you've passed the OSCE. So most people that have used this self-sponsorship route end up going back home with their job offer, and they just have to go back home and apply for visa, because that's the only thing you have to apply. You have to go back home to apply for the permanent work visa if you get the job. That's if you pass your OSCE, attend your interview and get the job. So the visa is 6 months. You don't have to stay your 6 months. You write your exam, plan yourself very well. You come in, you write your exam, you begin to attend interviews after your exams. God willing, you're successful in your exam. Why not? You go ahead with the interview, get your job offer, go home, apply. And I mean, that's just what people have been doing this day, and that seems to be the only way out. Because if countries that say, oh no, we are in crisis, you can't recruit from us and things like that, the only way around this is exempt yourself, and the only exemption is get your PIN. So once you get your PIN, you've exempted yourself from that red list issue, because any recruiter approaching you is now approaching you on the basis of you're a UK registered nurse. Because once you get your PIN, once you pass your OSCE, you're not considered as a UK registered nurse. So yes, it is cost intensive, but it is an option. It looks like the most valid option for now at this point. So I just decided to take out some time, make this video, make this explanation. If you have any other questions that I have not dealt with, please put them in the comment section and I will give you the details. I will answer them as they come, as I see them. If you're interested in the OSCE training class that is going to be, I mean, crazily subsidized, please, you can send me an email on ifechiprecious@gmail.com, ifechiprecious@gmail.com, or you can just follow the link that I'm going to be leaving on this video and join the community, and you'll be told how to go about the course and every other thing you need to go about. I wish you success. I just want to encourage you. I know it's very difficult. I know it's not easy, but if it's your dream and you can afford it, go for it and put your mind in it and you will succeed. People have done it, they've succeeded, they are working here now and they've forgotten the pains and the cost that it took them to get there. So the button is in your court. If you can afford, I mean, this estimate, go ahead and do it. You could do it in one step at a time, and if you can, go ahead, go for it and get your thing done. I mean, I'm just here to encourage you. Don't think, oh, it's so big, how do I start? I've given you, go back, watch this video again, make your notes, ask your questions in the comments, and I'll be there waiting to answer them. Till I see you next time, hopefully in the OSCE training class. My name is Precious. I'm a nurse educator. I'm Nigerian registered nurse, Nigerian registered midwife, and I'm a UK registered nurse. I'm currently practicing here as a nurse educator here in England, United Kingdom, and I'm very happy to assist you in your journey onto self-sponsorship, and very willing to welcome you here to join us as one of the UK RNs. I wish you the very best of luck, and I hope you grab this opportunity if you can and make the most out of it. See you in class. My name is Precious once again. See you soon. Bye-bye.